Let's go.
All right, we are live. If you're watching this live, you can hear us loud and clear. Go ahead, hit that like button, and give a thumbs up in the comment. Whether you're watching, if you're watching live on Facebook, if you're watching live on YouTube, go ahead and make a comment down below. And by the way, if you're watching this and you want to schedule, let me put it up here right now. If you want to schedule a Pick My Brain strategy session, you can do that over going to nickgood.work. You can schedule a free strategy session with me. Just go to nickgood.work and you'll be able to jump on my calendar. I'm joined with Nate Fisher. Nate Fisher has been in real estate. How long have you been in real estate, Nate?
2.5 years now.
2.5 years. And so walk us through, you so far in the first 6 months of 2021, you've sold $13 million in closed volume, right? And walk us through why did you get in real estate? And how did your first go around, go with, because you weren't with us at EXP, you were at another brokerage.
Yep.
So why did you get in real estate and how did it go in the very beginning?
I got into real estate, kind of tripped into the business. Had somebody that told me I should get licensed, at least try it out. And decided might as well, had nothing left to lose, was going to school just to see how I was going. And then, my first go around was tough. It was tough. The business is not as easy as it seems.
So you joined a Century 21 brokerage, right? Yep. What first off, what attracted you to Century 21? Why did you go there versus other brokerages?
I built up a good relationship with an agent that was there, and that was my primary reason for going.
So primary reason. And what were you doing in the very beginning? Training wise, right? Because everyone wants to know when I'm doing these agent interviews, they want to know your lead sources, right? Yeah. But I also like to talk about the training. What were you doing training wise to try to learn the business?
So honestly, a lot of the training was what to do once you're getting a contract. So it was, how do you write out offers? How do you go through that process once you have this client under contract? And that was honestly the main source of the training. And then from there it was, hey, call up your spear, do things like that. And that was kind of how that's how that was going. Perfect.
And again, if you're watching this live, go ahead, hit that like button. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment down below, tag an agent in this as well. Again, this is Nate Fisher. He's 22 years old. He's sold $13 million so far in the first 6 months of 2021. If you keep this pace up, you're on pace to about 25 to 26 million. And so, in your first, before leaving Century 21, how long were you there for, and how many deals had you closed?
So I was there for 8 months, and I did 2 deals. 2 deals sounds about right.
Two deals, okay. And what was your daily activities looking like then?
I was not 100% committed like what I should have been. I will say one of the clients I'd done from open houses. So I was doing some open houses, but I was treating it, maybe 10 hours a week of real estate.
So 10 hours a week. You were putting part-time hours in to try to get full-time income.
Exactly.
Yeah. That usually goes well.
Yeah.
So what was that turning point before we get into your lead sources, this year? What was that turning point that you were like, all right, something needs to change in my business if I want to stay? What was that kind of rock bottom for you?
So I was reaching out to the spirit, things like that. And to no surprise, people don't want to work with somebody that's only, I was 19, 20 at the time. So nobody wants to work with somebody that's, that doesn't know, hasn't even bought a house, doesn't know what they're talking about. And so I was like, all right, I've got to find different ways to get business. And if I keep on going down this path, I'm going to go broke. So something's got to give.
So what were those? What were your options? What were your path of options at that point, right? You were not making money, right? You were working 10 hours a week. So what were your paths there? And then what made you, choose the path that you went down?
So my paths, I had an opportunity to either, really surround myself with people that were doing big things, and then also, join a team and be able to learn from other people's, experiences. And so those are really the two paths that I had. I started to explore them. I knew I needed to switch something up, right? What I was doing wasn't making any sense. And so I started to explore those routes. And then obviously, I ended up going down the team route. Thought it was invaluable to learn from somebody that's team, obviously, sells over 200 homes a year. being able to learn from somebody like Elizabeth Austin, who, sold 17.6 million last year, and just constantly being able to learn from people. It was a great opportunity.
So from that, let's go down again. Before we go into your lead sources, right? And if you're watching this live, please leave a comment, tag an agent in this. This is Nate Fisher. He's 22 years old, has already sold $13 million in the first 6 months of 2021. By the way, in 2020, he did 9.6 million in closed volume. So tag an agent in this, hit that like button. If you're watching on the Real Estate Goods YouTube channel, go ahead, hit subscribe to that, please. But let's go. What was your mindset to joining a team, right? Because unfortunately, when people hear that, oh, he joined a team, of course he's selling that. You're gonna get discredited some, unfortunately, and that sucks because you're doing the work, right? And so, what was your mindset to join in a team? What was the downside? That was running through your head, like, man, I don't really want to do this because X, Y, and Z.
All right, I'll be the first to acknowledge it. I have a huge ego, a massive ego, and so there's something to be said that I like to have my name on things. I like to do, I like to get recognition. Words of affirmation is definitely something big for me. But at the same time, it's just taking a step back and realizing, hey, I want my wallet to be bigger than my ego, and I've also got to take, one step back to take two huge steps forward. So
joining the team that you were worried a little bit about losing maybe your identity in that.
Yes.
Okay. So, and was there anything else like, commission splits?
Commission splits definitely come into play. So.
Right. That's usually number one. So again, watch, if you're tagging agent in this, hit the like button, share this out, please. And so you were working 10 hours a week, trying to make full-time income on part-time work. And you joined the team. So in 2020, he did 9.6 million in closed volume. That was technically, that was pretty much your first full year in real estate. How long were you at Century 21?
8 months.
8 months.
Yep. So
you came at almost a year in at Century 21, sold 2 deals, and then joined the team at EXP. Happens to be the Good Home team, and you did 9.6 million in closed volumes in 2020. What was your learning path? What do you think your success path was then to get to 9.6? And then what have you done so far in 2021 to do 13 million in the first 6 months?
Well, that 9.6 didn't come overnight. It was definitely still a learning curve. I gave myself time to really experience the business, really get to learn. I asked a ton of questions. I was learnable. I was learning based, and I was coachable. So like my first 90 days on the team, I probably asked more questions than anybody could ever ask. And so that was something that it was really important to me. I was constantly learning. I was constantly wanting to dive in and learn as much as I possibly could, and then just soak it in and implement it. And so I did that. And then from there, it was just a matter of putting the time, energy, and effort. And
so let's talk about that. You were doing, when you're on your own, you're trying to hold yourself accountable, doing 10 hours again I'm not trying to harp on this. I really want to show the transformation here. 10 hours a week of work. And then you joined the team. What was your in 2020, what was your daily schedule looking like? So
I was in the office Monday through Friday. And then I would say most weekends I was in here on Saturday. And I was at least in here probably 9 to 5. If I wasn't running appointments, I was pounding the phone.
So you were putting full-time work in.
Yes.
Full-time work. And by the way, you made right at $100,000 in 2020. So that's amazing. That's a huge feat at 21 years old. So congratulations on that. What was your best lead sources in 2020? And are you still seeing that those same lead sources are paying off in 2021?
Yes. So my best lead sources last year were we have a lead source called the Z Buyer. Facebook leads were huge for me last year. And then I would say Google towards the tail end of the year was really good.
Okay. And as we've, as that was coronavirus, right now in 2021, we're in an inventory crisis, shortage.
Yep.
And so as we've moved into 2021, your production volume has gone up. Is that because is that from the work and energy that you put in 2020 to start stacking your nurtures and follow-ups, or is that also new business coming in that you're doing something different?
I would say that's new business, and I would also say it's a mixture of both. I was able to stack a lot from last year, and then at the same time, as I continue to do it, the conversations are getting easier, and it's one of those things that it's for, let's say, making 300 calls. now I'm getting more contacts, I'm getting more appointments because I'm becoming more efficient with my time. So I would say it's a healthy mixture of both. And then, I'd say my referrals are really starting to pick up. They're growing exponentially each year, I feel like. So
referrals are starting to pick up. That's the little bit of time in the business. You're still in those rookie new years, but at the same time, you're doing more business than a lot of agents are that typically do it. So you're going to start stacking referrals, of course. So you mentioned that your conversations are starting to flow a lot easier. What was your training like in 2020 and so far in 2021 to help you with that? What do you do training wise?
Well, so here's what I would say we do training wise. It helps to have somebody that even whenever I'm on the phone, I've got somebody kind of chirping in my ear, telling me to ask these questions, do different things like that. And then even once I get off of calls, I'm always willing to take that constructive criticism and see what I did wrong. So it's nice to have that live in action, training and tweaking. And then from there, just, kind of picking people's brains on what they're doing, how their conversations are going. And, I'm learning from people that have been doing it a lot longer than what I have. So
let's all right, let me ask you this question, right? Because this is about collaboration over competition, right? You obviously on a team, you get the benefit of having that extra accountability, that extra hand holding, of being able to, for lack of a better term, it's like being an athlete and you get to review your game footage or your practice footage and you get to make tweaks. Now, if you're an individual agent, what would you be doing right now if you're an individual agent to try to better, to start having better conversations, to be able to hold yourself accountable better?
So, there's a training program I can think of right off the top of my head, the National Association of Expert Advisors. I'd be doing that right off the bat, no questions asked.
So National Association of Expert Advisors, tell us a little bit more about that.
So that's a program that, essentially you're learning from the top guys. It's Jay Kinder and Michael Reese. They put together a training program. It's got all the scripts you need. It's got everything that's going to help you get to, from point A to point B and start being successful. Okay.
And there's, I know this program, right? Obviously we get access to this for free here with our upline sponsorship at EXP. You get to be a certified home buying advisor, certified home selling advisor. So if you want to learn more about that, connect with Nate Fisher. That wasn't the pitch on that at all, but I'm glad you went down that path. So far in 2021, right? Last year, your best lead sources were you said Facebook, a little bit of Google, and ZBuyer. What have been your best lead sources in 2021?
I would say ZBuyer, and then I'm really hitting the expireds and canceled from a couple years ago. Obviously, there's not as many great opportunities in the past couple of months, just because a lot of people are selling their homes pretty quick. But I'm going back and having conversations with people that were trying to sell 2, 3, 4 years ago, and just kind of educating them on the market. It's nice to know my numbers, and I'm coming across as the expert. I'm showing them that I know what I'm talking about, showing my expertise. And whenever I'm having these conversations, they respect it. So
I get the benefit of knowing your business a little bit more intricately than some of the other guests that I would have on. And so you also are playing matchmaker with buyers and homeowners, right? Yes. So you have done a very good job with lead sources of maybe looking at older expires, but also circle prospecting a little bit to try to find a home that matches your buyer's needs. So kind of go down, talk a little bit about that.
So if I have a buyer that's having a hard time finding a home on market, my first step is I try to go off and find them something off market. Now I never set the expectation up front that, hey, this is what's going to happen, but I always bring it up, especially whenever we're meeting, we're doing consultations. I say, hey, this is always a possibility. Luckily, I've had a lot of success in it. I'd say in the past 2 years, I want to say I've done like 4 or 5 off-market deals. And essentially what I do is I go back and I find people that I can make it convenient for them to, to sell their house with one of the buyers that I currently have. And luckily it's been able to pan out and really be successful.
So if you're watching this live, go ahead, hit that like button, tag an agent. If you're watching the replay, do the same thing. Comment down below if this is valuable and helpful. So when you're basically being a problem solver for your buyers in this tight inventory market, you're creating inventory.
Yes.
Right. So you're problem solving and really earning your commission on that. What does your schedule look like today versus, again, I'm going to harp on in the very beginning, you did what typically most agents do when they get in. They want that full-time, that unlimited income on part-time work, part-time hours. And so you said you were working, kind of 9 to 5-ish Monday through Friday in 2020, and then coming in on Saturdays. What is your schedule looking like in 2021 so far?
So I'll say I run a lot more appointments so far this year than what I did last year. But if I'm not running appointments, I'm still usually making the calls. So I'm usually here 9 o'clock to I'd say about 4 or 5, and then I head out. And even once I get home, I'm still kind of making calls, or I'm shooting off text messages, I'm doing emails. And so that's kind of how my schedule looks. If I'm not, the best piece of advice I ever got is if I wasn't running appointments, or if I wasn't doing something productive, I needed to be pounding the phone. And I really took that advice to heart.
So actually, I want to go down that path a little bit with, are you seeing, because we want to talk about scaling your business, right?
Yep.
And so first off, what systems are you using right now in your business?
So I'll say I'm going through the process of trying to set up some drip campaigns, trying to have my systems.
What are you doing? What are you using that through though? So
we're using Boomtown, setting up some drip campaigns that way. Even whenever I'm not there, I still have my systems working for me. From there, we have a lead manager who's been huge. Can't even express how big that's been. And then from there, just trying to constantly grind it out and figure out, hey, what's the best way to go about these different things, and picking your brain.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What's the lead manager? What does she do? What's her role for y'all?
She's there to keep me accountable. She's there, she helps me at times whenever I don't want to use the word overwhelmed, but maybe have a lot of stuff going on and can't do things at that given time. She's been great to help me out with certain things. So her job is to really keep me accountable and make sure that these leads, that we're not having anything slip through the cracks.
Perfect. And again, if you're watching this live, hit that like button, tag an agent in this, comment down below. Give Nate some love on this one. Because this is taking time out of his day for lead generation. And so let's talk about that. You talked about pounding the phone, or what are you seeing your success in right now? Is it the dialing? Is it text message and email? How are you connecting with these? Because a lot of your business is cold. It's cold business. They don't know who you are. So where are you seeing that most success in? Is it from the calls? Is it from the text messages, emails, whatever that may be?
So yeah, I love the chase. No, it's definitely the phone calls, 100%.
So phone calls are still working.
Yes, phone calls are 100% still working. So I'll tell you, and some people won't like this, but especially if they're new leads, I call them 3 times back to back to back. And on the 3rd time, I'll leave a voicemail. From there, I go through and I probably make $300 a day. So that's kind of what my schedule looks like. The goal's right around there. We reverse engineered it and knew that way I could know my numbers, know what I need to be at, so I can get to where I want it to be production wise. So
at $300 a day, what's your typical contact rate?
I would say it's about 10%. So if I'm making 300 calls a day, my expectation is to get about 30 contacts.
So from that, who are you calling?
So I call the old expireds and canceled right now. I call I call a lot of the sellers that we have in our system, buyers and sellers that we have in our system. We've got quite a bit of people that have reached out to us at one point or another wanting to buy or sell. So
if you're a brand new agent that doesn't have those, what would you be doing right now?
If I was a brand new agent that didn't have those things, I'd be looking into meeting with people that do have those things.
All right. Good point.
And then if my ego was too big for that, I would definitely be trying to take some training courses that would show me how to generate my own business, how to put myself in those positions. And then you are who you surround yourself with. I mean, if you surround yourself with people that are generating a ton of leads, you're going to pick up something from them, and you're going to learn how to do that. And then it's going to come to you.
What do they say? Your net worth equals your network, or network equals your net worth, vice versa, right? And if you go back to Monday's live interview I did with David Bitnick, right? And this is something you talked about. You have a huge ego, but you were able to kind of push it to the side to look at what's best for you and your business. David Bitnick shared on Monday that what is bigger, your ego or your bank account?
Yep.
Right. And that's a huge eye-opening. A lot of people, unfortunately, fail in this business because their ego is bigger than what they want the success in. And that affects their bank account. That has a negative impact on their bank account. And that could have been you in your 8 months at Century 21 before you were looking at joining the team option. You could have said, well, I'm just going to try this.
Yep.
And you weren't surrounding yourself with people who's pushing you to treat this as a career. Right. And as a business.
I could have stayed as a solo agent, only done two deals a year and, kept my own brand, things like that. But at the same time, if I'm helping, I think on this so far this year, I'm on pace to help 60 families buy into real estate or a little bit over that. The numbers you start to look at it and it's a no brainer. So
Guys, this is huge. So again, if you're watching this live, hit that like button, comment, tag an agent in this. If you haven't gone over to the YouTube channel, click on the link above and go subscribe to the Real Estate Goods channel. We're gonna, the goal is to be doing these live interviews, Monday through Friday, as well as if you're kind of struggling in your business right now, go to nickgood.work. You can schedule a Pick My Brain strategy session, and we'll do a deep dive on your business. Right? We'll kind of look at. More than likely, there's 2 to 3 items that are really standing out that can if you can tweak, right, it'll have a positive impact on your business and your income. And so let's talk about the last part here, Nate, is that you kind of touched on it a little bit. How are you helping your clients win in this competitive real estate market?
So obviously I try to do the off-market matchmaking. That doesn't always work. So what I'll say is especially whenever I'm working with these buyers and we're looking at a property that I know is going to be competitive, right? I'm reaching out to the agents to build rapport. I would go, hey, Nick, I wanted to just reach out to you about your property over on XYZ Street. I'm sure you're working multiple offers. Kind of tell me what the seller's looking for other than the highest offer possible. And I just get to know what the seller situation is. What are they looking for? What are their expectations? And then that way I can try to match it up with the best that my clients can do. Right. And then let's say that it's, a couple hours before the deadline, I'm going to call you up and I'm going to say, hey, Nick, let me ask it in terms of numbers. Can you give me a gauge on where we need to be at? Obviously, they can't tell me that. Right. And so I'm going to continue to pry, just like I would talk to a lead that's wanting to buy or sell. I'm going to talk to these agents and pry for as much information as I can humanly get.
Sounds like you're reframing and rephrasing the question to try to extract as much information.
Yes.
So that you set your client up for success, which is to win that offer, right?
Yes.
Without having to necessarily maybe that saves them a $5,000 to $10,000 over asking what you may have. If you didn't have the right information, you may be saving them some money from going that much further over, right? Because you picked up on that they really want a free lease back, right? Or they need 6-month lease back and your client's willing to do it. And so you can pick up on certain intricacies of the deal.
Yep.
To set your client up for success.
One, I put a buyer under contract over in Allen, that we were able to give a 2-month free lease back. And that was what ended up winning the deal. We ended up getting it at appraised value. And this is whenever the market, in my opinion, was probably at its peak. People were going insane amounts over. So not only that, I'll also say with my buyers that, I've had a lot of buyers that say, hey, I want to be in Frisco. Anybody that's a realtor here in the Metroplex knows that Frisco is an absolute nightmare. And we've had conversations and I'm like, well, have you thought about being in other places? Have you thought about places like Salina, places like Aubrey, and it's, once they start thinking about it and it matches up with their needs and they're like, okay, well, I have the opportunity to go get into a new construction for $550 right off of GNC where it's only, still a 2-lane road on both sides. That's an opportunity.
Yeah. So you're helping, you're having those conversations, showing them other options and other solutions. So, and you are wanting to put together a lead generation style class, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that is something I'm looking into.
Perfect. If you're interested in wanting to join Nate in a lead generation class, whether that's through Zoom, whether that's in person or both, connect with Nate. Be sure to tag an agent in this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can reach Nate Fisher. What's your contact info?
It's 469-525-8751. If you're a person that likes to email, it's nate@goodshomes.com.
Goods with an S, homes with an S.com. So connect with him and really hold him accountable to his lead generation class. He's really wanting to give back to agents. So again, if this was, if you're watching this, tag an agent, you're watching the replay now, tag an agent in this, go over to nickgood.work. You can schedule a free Pick My Brain strategy call sessions. Let's talk about your business. Let's see where those roadblocks are, and see what we can do to help you, overcome those hurdles and really put you on that path to the next level in income. So thanks for watching Tag an Agent. We'll see you on the next one.